Hey everyone, and welcome to the NintendoFuse Podcast. This is episode 282, recorded on December 4th, 2023. My name is Steve, and of course, I'm here with Barry and Greg. Barry, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Hope
Good.
everyone else is enjoying themselves out there.
Yeah. Also joined by Greg, of course. So, Greg, how you doing?
Holding up pretty well. Yeah, things have been going pretty good for on the gaming side, at least over here. So that's always good.
Nice. Yeah, we're going to be talking a lot about gaming. This is our episode before our Game of the Year awards. So, episode 283, which will be the next one, will be all about our Game of the Year awards. But tonight in this episode, we are going to be talking all about Level 5's recent presentation, some controversy over the Completionist, and some things going on with his charity. Also, going to preview our Game of the Year awards and several other stories we want to make sure that you guys know about. But before we get into any of that, we're going to talk about what we have been playing. And as if you're joining in our live chat, make sure you let us know in the live chat what you've been playing as well. We'd love to hear what you guys play. And if you're joining after the fact, you can also join us in the chat or the comments and let us know after the fact as well. We love interacting with you guys throughout the entire podcast. Also, if you've not joined us on social media, be sure to head over to @NintendoFuse on your favorite social media. You should be able to find us over there and join us on our Discord. It's a growing community over there, and we love talking about games and lots of other things. Been lots of conversation around games, but also movies this last week in the Discord. So if you enjoy anything like that and you want to hop over into our Discord, it'd be a great place to join our community. But as we've said, let's get into what we have been playing, and we'll let Barry kick it off.
Yeah, so I've been busy this past 2 weeks. I didn't think I was going to be this busy, but it turns out I was busier than I expected in terms of gameplay. So I on the Switch still doing Pokemon Unite, daily thing. Pokemon Scarlet we talked about last time. There was a raid event, so I logged in. I think it took me 2 tries to beat him and logged out, so I did that quickly. Also talked about last time. Tetris 99 had a WarioWare theme for the WarioWare Move It. So I logged in, got my 100 points, logged out. So did those quickly. A game we're going to be talking about in a little bit for the Switch called Full Quiet. Another game that I'm doing review for that I can't talk about until next week called Juan Sword Mist Beyond the Mountains. It's an RPG series, I could say. This game came out originally from 1999. It's the third game in the series, so glad to see it brought to a more modern system. But more on that next time. Then I was doing Persona 5 Tactica last time, and I did finish it. Really enjoyed it. I loved the cast of Persona 5. If you like, strategy role-playing games, then yes, this is absolutely perfect for you. And if you don't like strategy role-playing games, it's in the vein of Mario and Rabbids, where it's more user-friendly. I know a lot of people didn't like the fourth kingdom in this game, where it was literally just a gauntlet of battles and very little story, and I agree with that. But overall, it was a very good experience. And I was waiting at this point for another game to come out, so I had a little time. So a game I've been meaning to play earlier this year, and I just never did, was an old game called Rhapsody, a musical adventure. I played it via the Pretty Presents NIS Classics Volume 3 on the
Mm.
Switch, because we finally got the second and third game this year, which never came out. But I never played the series, and I've heard good things, so I wanted to play the first one. So I did, and it was a quick playthrough. I mean, it's probably like a 10-hour RPG or less, and it's cute. It's actually a musical. Like, characters would just break into song, full English vocal tracks. This was originally for the PlayStation, and then later on the DS. But it was a fun. It's also actually a kind of like a strategy RPG, but thankfully it had auto battle. And boy, did I abuse auto battle, because I am not a strategy role playing fan. But I did enjoy the story. Really cute, great cast of characters, and it had like monster collecting too, which is cool. But speaking of monster collecting, the big game I've been waiting for, Dragon Quest Monsters: The Dark Prince, came out on Friday. So I've been playing that, and I am I'm gonna say roughly around 2/3 through, I think. But I'm not sure where the story is going to go because it is getting really good. And I've hit almost a wall. Like I'm at a point where it's like, do I power up a little more? Do I start breeding monsters and changing it up? But I'm having a good time. I'd say my only complaint is this game gives you the kind of the illusion of choice, and it's like, oh, do you want to do this, yes or no? And it doesn't matter what you pick, the story is going to go. And I was like, because at first it was like, oh, are you going to do this? And it was like, this is what it wants you to do, a good option. And I was like, well, now I'm going to say no. Let's see what happens. And I was like, oh, now I'm like, friends are leaving me, and I'm like, I'm going down a bad road, and I'm like, I don't think I want to do that my first playthrough. So I reloaded, and I was like, oh no, I'll do that. And it's like, oh, we don't believe you. And then boom, I'm back down the bad road. I'm like, oh, the choice doesn't matter. The story is taking me where the story wants to take me. So go into it knowing it's like, whose line is it anyway? Or, the points don't matter, or the choices don't matter. But it is a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun if you've never played a Dragon Quest Monsters game. It is like Pokemon, but it's totally not like Pokemon at the same time. So I highly recommend it. Another game, or another two games really, I went to the NSO app. Played a little Kirby Superstar Stacker for the Super Nintendo. Love that game on the Game Boy. Love it on the Super Nintendo. Too bad it's all in Japanese, but at least it's one way to play it. And I was feeling a little nostalgic, so I went back to the GBA and played the original WarioWare after playing Move It earlier this year. And boy, did I forget that the original WarioWare didn't really have a lot of games. It was pretty much the same games you like. If you failed and you didn't get to continue, but then you replayed and it was the same games in a different order. So I was like, oh yeah, there wasn't it was a huge, like, if it was 15 total in that chapter, there was 15 games in that chapter. That was it. It wasn't like 30 and you got 15 of them randomly. But then Thanksgiving happened. I went to a friend's house. We had Friendsgiving, and one of my friends there was showing us the MetaQuest 3 that came out. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, this would be good if my in-laws are coming in town next week. And I was like, this would be really good for them. They might enjoy this. So we decided, as our Christmas present for each other, my wife and I got ourselves a MetaQuest 3. So I've been fooling around with it, even though I had the PSVR 2. And the VR 2, it's a pain in the butt to get out and hook up and all that. Like, this is just pop in and go. So I was playing a couple games on it, and fantastic games, honestly. I was blown away. Real VR fishing is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. A lot of these I got for my father-in-law, but I wound up enjoying anyways. Gun Club VR Reloaded, which actually came out in PS4 VR too. It's like a cool little shooting gallery type game. Golf Plus. I'm not a golf person at all. My father-in-law loves golf, but I had to test it so I can tell him what to do, and I was really
It's
impressed with how
so
well it
good.
works.
Yeah,
It is
it's
really
really good.
good.
Yeah.
I was shocked. I was
Yeah.
like, this feels so good. Like, wow. Star Wars Pinball VR also felt good. It's just really cool seeing the characters and like playing pinball, like actually like as if I was playing a pinball game. Epic roller coasters. I am not a fan of roller coasters, but it was really interesting to try them in VR. But it also has like Disney amusement park like modes where there's coasters that are more amusement rides than actual like thrill rides. It's like going around like Jurassic Park style, and this is actually really entertaining. I like this. And messed around with VR chat finally because I know a lot of people played VR chat, and I was like, "Hey, what's up?" And I was like, walk into rooms and just talk with a few people here, and people are constantly up and leaving, and I was just like,
Yeah.
"This, like, oh, I'm probably because I'm a guy, they're like, oh, you're not a girl, bye." But yeah, it was definitely interesting. And then finally, PC, still playing Final Fantasy 14. Whenever I got can, and mobile, still Mario Kart Tour. But then I also had another game on the Switch for review, which I mentioned last time, but I can talk about it this time. And that game is Tetris. And Tetris is a puzzle game from East Asia Soft. They provided a code, so thank you very much East Asia Soft. And this game is available right now. Is normally $4.99. Sale ends on 12/13. It's 20% off right now, so it's $3.99. And this is a puzzle game where it pretty much gives you a shape and a bunch of uh, Tetris style pieces, and you have to put all the Tetris style pieces inside the shape given. and leave no empty space. And it's you have to flip them, you have to rotate them, you have to figure out the best way to do it. And there's little obstacles sometimes in the shape as well. A lot of fun, relaxing. I think there's 80 puzzles, so there's a lot of content. Like there's a lot of stuff to do, and I don't know if it's supposed to be more challenging, but I kind of feel it makes it easier. Sometimes a puzzle will have like a red square, and it means the red Tetris piece has to cover that square somehow. And I almost feel it kind of makes it easier because it's like, all right, I know it has to go here. So you work around that as opposed to blank canvas, trial and error. But I've had a lot of fun with it. While there's a lot of puzzles, there's not a lot of depth. And what I mean by that is, if you do 10 puzzles and you say, is anything new happening? I haven't encountered anything. I think I'm in like the 40th or 50th puzzle. I haven't encountered anything new. So it's just the puzzles get more challenging. But it is a lot of fun. It's a great pick up and play. Like, I've got 5 minutes. I'm going to do a puzzle or two type of game. So I do recommend it for that, especially for the price. If you are, you know, unsure if you like this kind of thing, watch a video, see if you would. But it's only $4 right now, so I think it's a good value. And yeah, I highly recommend it if you enjoy those things. So thank you very much, East Asia Soft, for providing a code. And if you guys wind up picking up and playing it, let us know your thoughts.
Cool. Let's go to the chat real quick. And it says Jakester's been playing Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, and which is good until
Wow,
the
did
post-game.
you really just say it that way?
I figured I was gonna take a shot. I seem pretty confident about it. Kind of.
Kakarot.
Not really. Oh, it was so close.
Kakarot, man.
Kakarot.
Like all the
Hey,
DBZ fans right now are ready to like.
You know what? Bring it on. Bring it on. Bring it on. I will admit I know next to nothing about Dragon Ball Z. Let's move on. But anyhow, I guess the post game keeps crashing, and then started Xenoblade Chronicles 3: Future Redeemed, and loving it, and also something else I probably can't pronounce. Honkai sounds right. Honkai Star Rail, and Pokemon Sleep, and Pikmin Bloom, and also Tetris 99 for the WarioWare theme. So, man, Jixter's been playing almost as many games as you have been, Barry. So, it's exciting.
That's awesome.
Greg, what have you been up to?
Well, I had a quick comment that I wanted to interlude there. This is not also the first time Steve's mispronounced something on this podcast, and
not at all, especially when it has something to do with Japanese.
Yeah, so please forgive both him and my pronunciation skills because we're not the best on those things. But all right, back to what I've been playing. So last time I had mentioned I had like pretty much downloaded Hogwarts Legacy, so this one was more heavily based actually be playing the game. So I've just been kind of enjoying exploring around Hogwarts and collecting a lot of these different field pages that you can find and doing a few of the quests, and not terribly far into the game, but I have done like some of the main quests and did like the first few things and learned like the first like 6 or 7 spells, but there's still quite a long way to go because there's definitely lots of unlockables to be found here. So far I've been really enjoying my time with the game. I do like that there's tons of fast travel spots all throughout the castle, so then you can easily just jump to areas if you're not looking for secrets or just really not feeling like you want to just explore through. But one of the things I didn't really care for was that there's always like the guide thing is like almost like always on. So then like if you pick up a quest and then like, oh, here's the guide for this quest, and then immediately show you a path on how to get there. It's like, well, I didn't want to diverge off of the previous quest I was on, but thanks for overwriting my previous one that I had selected. I mean, obviously you can unselect it and reselect the one that you want to do, but it's kind of annoying that if you pick up a new quest, just like having to be wandering around, then it kind of overwrites it there as well. But again, small nitpick things. So there's tons of secrets to be found in Hogwarts, and I'm still got a long way to go. I actually did play some Super Mario Maker 2 over this last break period. I've been on a pretty long hiatus, and a few of the creators I found have been playing levels like themed after making a whole super world based on levels from Super Mario 1. So there's like a series that was like, oh, this is 1-1, but, and then like they find some way to mix it up. And then someone did like a 1-2, and then I just recently saw a 1-3. So it's like, I wonder if I should try to fill in the gap here, and I selected World 2.2, and then I designed a few courses around that. I didn't upload them or anything yet, but I was just kind of having some fun with the ideas. So if there's any creative people out there that want to help generate a few ideas that are new, then definitely feel free to send a comment or thing my way, and I'll hopefully try to implement one of those levels. So there's that. I did purchase Ira and the Crow Maiden, and then I put in our Discord that I was having an awesome issue that I guess is with the version 1 of the game. So I did reach out to either the devs or the publishing team. I'm unsure which one it was that actually had contacted, but they had surprisingly reached back right away and said, yeah, they're already aware of the issue and that they're waiting on Nintendo's lot check to confirm the bug, or to have the bug patched fully out. So hopefully be able to get some more time into that. But obviously, my initial playtime has been very negative, just based on that video that I posted in our Discord. On the original Nintendo, I was playing one of mine and my brother's favorite games, Nobunaga's Ambition. So determined that the battery in my cartridge actually died. So we did like some emergency surgery and replaced the battery on it. And so then we were resuming playing and just had a lot more fun just messing around with the game, because it's one of those fun games that me and him always just love playing on get-togethers that we have, and whether we play with like the 17 Lords or 50 on the actual regular Nintendo. So it's just one of our favorite games that we play a lot together. And then pretty much on mobile, still the same kind of run-of-the-mill stuff. The Roblox, Simpsons Tapped Out, a little bit of Monopoly Go still even. And then Super Mario Run, I've still been powering through it. So I did wrap up the black coins on the initial 6 Worlds of Tour. So I now joined the ranks of Barry and Alex and Jared that have already completed that. I noticed Steve didn't have the black icon by his yet, so that means he didn't complete the initial tour for the black coins. So I guess I went up Steve there. But now I'm going into the special world and hoping to finish up the coins there, because I didn't even get the purple coins in the special world. So still more to go on Super Mario Run. That's about all I've been playing.
Nice.
Hey, Greg,
Nice.
I'm not sure if you know this or not, but there's actually some Nobunaga's Ambition games on the Switch as well.
Yeah, there is. I saw that one came out on there, and I've been a big fan of like that original Nintendo game. And then I know they had a second one on the NES, but I never played it or found a copy of it. And then I know it was on PlayStation and stuff for a number of games or whatever too, but I never got into those. It was almost the thing that got me into Pokemon originally when they did that crossover for Wii. I was so close to just getting it, and I really
It
regret
was
that I did it.
DS, you mean Pokemon Conquest?
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, DS, not Wii. But that was almost the game that got me into Pokemon a lot sooner, but I really should have pulled the trigger on it, because now it's probably $500 or whatever.
No, not that much. It was a fun game, though.
Yeah, only probably like 50 or 100, but yeah.
Nice. Again, let us know what you've been playing, either in the live chat or also in the chat or the comments afterwards as well. JC Glenn is in the chat and said he went stoked for the retro Tink 4K. I'm thinking he says Retro Link 4K.
No, Tink.
Tink?
Retro Tink is correct.
What is Retro Tink? I know Retro Link.
It's an adapter to hook up older systems to 4K TV and upscale the output.
I wonder if it's the same thing, and I just always thought it was Retro Link.
Maybe, but it's Retro Tink.
Because Retro Link kind of makes sense, and I thought, and maybe like long ago, I thought, nah, that can't be Tink. It must be Link. But anyway, yeah, I've not seen this 4K one, but yeah, he says it's looking pretty cool. So nice. I've been playing Rocket League, of course, and interesting thing is going on in Rocket League. We'll tell you a little more about that later on in the headlines section, but I've still been enjoying it. I think this latest season gets over tonight, I believe, and we have no idea what is happening in the next season. They've been completely silent, and supposedly I think it's supposed to drop tomorrow or the next day, one or the other. So yeah, there's people thinking that this is like the game is dying and they're gonna they don't know what to do with it anymore, and other
Jumping the
people
shark.
are thinking this is the time they're finally switching over to Unreal, the newest Unreal Engine, and then finally they're actually going to bring it to, you know, all the promises that they've been talking about for a long time. So it could go either way. So who knows?
If they bring it to the new Unreal, how would that affect the Switch version?
Good question. But I think I'm wondering if they don't really change the game very much. I'm wondering if they could still go cross-platform, even with the old one. It just won't look as good on Switch, which it already doesn't look as good. So, and at this point, I don't care because I play it mostly on my Xbox. So, so I can actually get 120 frames per second and everything. But yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. So a couple days, we'll find out what things are going on. But we'll talk about a little more about that, like I said, in the headlines. Also been playing more Pokemon Go. Just collecting Pokemon and whatever else is going on in the game. I haven't really explored a whole bunch of battles or anything like that, but I've just been playing it a lot more lately and got more into it. Played a game called Full Quiet that we're going to talk about in just a little bit, and also played Catan, depending on who you talk to. That I know goes by different pronunciations, so I can confidently say that. I played Catan, the console edition, which is the newest version. So Catan came out like back in 2019, I believe, and that game still exists, but it's only single player now because the multiplayer servers were shut down. And so now we have this new one, which is called Catan Console Edition. And I have several different thoughts about this game. First of all, it was a little buggy in the menu at times. So I think they still have some things to tweak here and there. It crashed on me twice. And then the quick game setup also goes so quick. And when you go in, you have all these different options of how to play. And if you go with the quick game, it jumps you right into a game with 3 other people and just throws you in. And it basically sets up the initial auto placement for your initial settlements for you and does all that stuff. So it's going turn by turn by turn. And it looks like the game is playing for you at the beginning. In reality, it kind of is. And so I was all confused at the very beginning. I was like, do I get to play this game? Like, I hope I get to play too. And finally, after everything's placed, then I got to actually play it. It was fine. I had a great time and it was fun. But after a couple rounds, I got the hang of it. What I did enjoy later is I didn't go back into quick, game. I went back and did like a game where I got to set up, how the game was. And that it was a lot more fun. It didn't fly through the whole setup and everything, and I got to place my settlements where I wanted them to go and everything. So that was fun. But I only got to play single player against the AI components because public online is hopeless. It is like public. I'm sure if you go against a private match where you set up your own private game, it's probably great. But public was hopeless. It paired me up with one other person and 2 AI players, but the game never started. I'm pretty sure the person that jumped in there first forgot about it or something, because I just sit there in the open lobby like saying, yep, I'm ready. And I sit there for a while and I backed out. And I was like, okay, I'll find another open lobby. And nope, it sent me back in the same one over and over and over again. So finally I gave up on that. Like an hour or so goes by. I was like, let me try it again. And I sat there forever without ever getting connected to a game. And I have cross-platform play turned on as well. So it should have put me with something on the Xbox or PlayStation or PC or something. And I never got paired with another person. So I don't know. People aren't playing it or their servers just suck. I don't know. But the single player was fun. It looks a lot more updated than the original game back on the launch several years ago on the Switch. It's not as detailed though as the original game. So in the original game, you had all these different scenarios that you could play through against different, like it's almost like a campaign in the original single player game, and you can still play that on the original one, because I actually went back and played it just to compare. The game board looks a lot more like the original in the original game. So the actual game board in the board game, there's a lot more comparison. In the newest version, it's been updated and they're a little bit more 3D like, and they have like little farmer, like a farmer in the field that's actually working the field rather than just a plain, tile that it looks like in the actual board game. So it's been updated a little bit, but there's not as much there. But the single player plays smoothly. I would just recommend letting you know ahead of time when you fire it up and you hit quick match that it's going to do everything for you. And so don't freak out like I did. You'll eventually get to play the game, even though it doesn't look like you will at the beginning. But it was fun, and if you enjoy Catan, I think it could be fun. I didn't get to play its local multiplayer yet, but they did do something really cool in this version, because if you want to keep your tiles and the cards and everything that you have private, you can actually turn on a mobile second screen and scan a QR code that gives you a private view of what you have in your hand. And so that way everybody's looking at the screen as the board game, and you have your mobile phone or your tablet as your hand and your cards and all that stuff. So it's kind of a cool little touch that allows you to play it multiplayer and not be able to see everybody's stuff or have to like close your eyes when other people are playing or something. So that's kind of cool.
Does the original version have that, or just this one?
It does not. No, the original version did not have local multiplayer at all. So it was only single player or online multiplayer.
So it sounds like buy the original for single player content and buy this for multiplayer content.
Pretty much, yeah. So I don't know what the original one price is now. I hope it went down since they pulled online, but I'm not sure. I actually don't even know what the cost of this one is. But I did get it, disclosure, I did get a review code from the company as well.
So the original one is on sale. Normally it's $6.99. It's on sale for $3.40. Oh, it's a Katana. That's not Catan.
Oh.
Catan Console Edition is there's no other one.
I don't think you can get the original one.
Yeah,
I was trying to search for it earlier, and So if
you
have
the
it,
game is
you have it.
I don't. This one is $19.99, but there's a DLC bundle, and it's $29.99 for the DLC bundle.
Yeah, which is definitely a discount. I think there's two things that are included in that DLC bundle, and you can get it in the bundle for $10 more. If you buy them separately, I think it's more like $17. So if you're thinking about the bundle or getting the DLC, then it's definitely better to get the bundle for the expansions.
No, you can still get the original. I see what it is. It looks like Catan Console Edition is $20. Catan Console Edition Deluxe is $24.99, and Catan Console Edition Super Deluxe, which has the DLC, is $29.99.
So those are all the new one. The original one was just called Catan, and that was it.
Oh, was it?
Yep. And it is, I think, gone.
That's weird. That's so weird.
Only if you own it already. Yep.
That sucks.
Yeah. So kind of weird, but hopefully, we'll get a chance to play some, Barry, because I need someone to play online, because I can't play anyone public. This one person I tried to, but she never started the game.
If only they sent more codes.
That's true. That's true. They didn't. Get ghosted.
I feel like I've heard you two talk a lot about this game. Like I almost want to check it out too.
Have you never played Catan?
Oh,
no, I have not.
Oh, okay. It's a fairly simple board game, but it's cool because like every game is different, because the way you set up the board is random every time. So every experience is always going to be different. And
it's one of those few games where you actually benefit on your opponent's turn too. Because depending on how the dice roll, you can get resources on your opponent's turn.
Yeah, it's a lot of luck and strategy all at the same time. So, but it's pretty fun. So, hey, if you get it on Switch, let me know, and we'll play online sometime. Because I'm looking for some online opponents.
So let's stop, and I'll let you know.
Well, let's move into our game chat for this episode. And Barry and I had an opportunity to play a game, and I'm going to kick it over to him, and we'll jump into this game chat before we head into this episode's new discussion.
Yeah, so the game we played is a game called Full Quiet on the Nintendo Switch. This came out July 7th of 2023 from 8-Bit Legit. And full disclosure, they did provide us review codes, so thank you very much, 8-Bit Legit. This is normally $9.99. It is an 8-bit experience of survival, puzzles, and exploration. This actually is an NES game. It's an NES aftermarket game playable on the NES, so they were able to bring it over and port it to the Switch. You get lost in this challenging, mysterious open-world adventure as you encounter strange creatures, solve puzzles, and figure out how to restore the radio relay grid in order to find your missing son. Look for clues along the way and manage your resources when you decode the secrets of the game. Steve, what are your thoughts?
I have lots of thoughts about this game. I'll just say from the very beginning, let's just get this out of the way. I was not a fan of this game. I think from the very beginning, I was confused at what to do. It wasn't super clear. The menus were even tough to navigate. Like I was like, what? I don't even understand how to operate the menu. Just if you play the game, X button backs you out of things. That is not super clear all the time. But the X button is your friend to back out of things as one step back. Usually you're used to doing that on the B button, but that is not the case in this game. You do have the opportunity. I like the opportunity to customize my controls. So eventually I remapped my controls because I wanted my shoot button to be on Y, and I wanted B to be jump and A to be the forward dash jump thing, front roll thing, whatever. And so I remapped those buttons, which is nice. I like that they gave you that opportunity. But yeah, I had a rough time with this game. I think the levels are pretty bare bones sometimes as you're moving from one thing to the next. Sometimes you have no enemies at all. You're just walking from the left to the right or the right to the left, depending on which way you're going. Sometimes that's 2 or 3 screens in a row. You have nothing on the screen at all. I'm like, what was the point of this? Like and all that stuff. Yeah, I think the controls were, like I said, were a little rough, but you do have the opportunity to change them up. But they don't use all the buttons on the controller. I could understand if they said, "Hey, we're only going to keep it to like the NES, and we're only going to use the main control pad and A and B." Then that makes sense. But they don't. They use X and Y and the ZR and ZL. So why not use R and L to do things as well? And why not use the secondary stick to do stuff as well? So like and there's just some things that I was like, this could be easier, I think, in the long run. So they say the game is difficult, but I think the controls make it even more difficult. And the lack of not knowing what's going on, you really do need to read the manual like that's on the game. But even getting into the manual, like, I don't know about your copy, but my copy, I opened the manual and it went to a blank screen. And I thought the game had crashed, or I thought like, oh, they forgot to put the manual in there. And then I had to click a button to actually turn a page. And then eventually I got the manual. They also have a 2-page tip thing in there. Also, highly recommend reading those tips so you know how to even grab a hold of a ledge, because that's not completely obvious, and how to do that. Like sometimes you'll be entering into a door and then you have to jump up to a ledge. Well, guess how you grab a ledge? You hold up, which also puts you through that door. So you have to be precisely in the right spot in order to avoid going back through the door, but also be able to jump up on the ledge. So different things like that. I mean, if it's trying to capture the original NES experience, some games were like that on NES. They weren't super polished, but I feel like now we're in 2023. There's a few things that I wish they'd they would have polished a little bit more. But Barry, I'm going to let you talk about it a little more. I've got some other things, but that's kind of a general impression at the beginning here.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of that. It's one of those things where when you're so divorced from that era of gaming, it's you just want to like the 2023 era. You put a game in, you push start, and you get right into it. And the NES era, Super Nintendo, Master System, Genesis era was different. You opened up the box, you read through the manual before you ever popped that cartridge in. And I went into it like a 2023 game, and I was confused. I was like, "What am I doing? Where am I going?" And like I died, and I was like, "Okay, let me try this again." So I got a little farther, and then I died. I'm like, "Okay, we're doing this. We're going back, bringing me back to NES days. Let's do this." And eventually, I got past that, and I hit a loop, and I was like, "What do I do?" And then I was like, "Oh, I got to read the manual," and I'm like, "Oh man, this is bringing me back." So in terms of authentic experience, yes, it is. It is definitely there, and that's what I think that's what they were going for, which is really really cool. And it's ambitious. This game is very ambitious. There's a lot to do in it. There's a lot of items. There's a lot of story, which is not usually the case when it comes to NES games. But it's also cryptic. It's very cryptic. You're gonna come across like key codes, and you're like, "What do I do? Like, what do I do? Like, was there a clue somewhere? Did I miss it? Like, where do I go?" And like, there's parts where it's like there's like two levels, and you could go down and up between them, and it's not really clear that you can do that. And there's like an in between level too, and I'm like, "Where do I go?" And there's one point where like a plant grabbed me from a tree and pulled me up, and I'm like hitting all the buttons, and I'm like, why can't I get out? And then I realized I had to rotate the analog stick to get out.
I am
And I'm like,
so glad to hear that I was not the only one to experience that.
it's like, what am I doing? I'm spamming A and B. I'm like, come on, like get
I was
me
like,
out of
well,
this tree.
I guess I'm done.
I almost turned it off. I was like, I guess I'm done here at this point. I'm stuck. And then I'm like, well, maybe I rotate the analog stick, and I drop down. And I was like, really? Because like again, 2023 gaming, you push buttons like crazy to get out of holds like that. And NES days, was it? Did we do the rotator
Mhm.
on the control? The control pad. It's been so long. But I was like, okay, I'm getting this. But then I got like into a loop, and I just kept going around. I'm like, what do I do? I just keep going around the same squares, and I'm like, I'm starting to get bored, and it started getting dark, and I'm like, what's gonna happen at dark? Oh my god, like it's really cool that there's a day-night sequence in an NES game. Like that's really cool. But I didn't find out what happened at dark because I got killed before I could find shelter, and like I found buildings, and I'm like, I can't get into these buildings. What do I do? And I'm like, it was tough.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's like, yeah, especially like when you start the game, you get to a point where you're in this cave, and you're on this platform, and there's like a bottomless pit in front of you, and you have no idea what to do. So you have to take a leap of faith, and you have to jump down there, and you hit the ground, and you get hurt, and you get an what I call an E tank, because it looks just like a Mega Man
It
E
looks
tank. I'm
just like one.
sorry.
Yeah.
And there's a note that says, "Oh yeah, use these to heal. Sometimes when you drop, you're gonna take damage." I'm like, that was cryptic as hell. There was
Yep.
no arrow pointing down. I didn't even want to jump, but I was like, what do I do? Like, is there a tool? And I think I pushed down and A, which made me like roll, like a jump ahead, like a long jump roll, like a
Mhm.
dash roll. And I was like, oh crap, I'm dead. And I was like, oh, I'm not dead. What
Yeah.
the heck is going on?
Yeah. I'm going to stop you because
So,
I did the exact same thing the very first time I played. You can jump onto the ledge over there. And I did that, and I backtracked through that whole world the second time I played through it. So it
oh,
is possible to not have to take that leap, like, which I thought was crazy. There's no way, but I finally realized how to grab onto ledges, and you can jump across that. So you don't
oh,
have to go that way. You can, but you don't have to. But I
I took the
experienced the
kamikaze.
exact same thing you did the first time I played it too. Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna say, like, I think, like, because we're already saying like this game is difficult, it's confusing, but one of the things you may or may not get to, I think eventually, like you said that you do get to these things. I don't know how often or where they all are because it's so cryptic, but you get to a Morse code machine
Yeah, I
sort of
saw
thing.
that.
So I didn't know what I was doing, of course, like we've already said. And so I was just popping around different things. And of course, like most people by this point, I've memorized the code for SOS. Don't put in SOS because it turns on hard mode immediately. And then there's no way to turn it off. And at that point, then I just walked around. The enemies were a little harder to beat. And I was like, well, who knows what's going to happen now? And then I got to this other puzzle where you're supposed to like connect pipes and stuff together. And to how to rotate those tiles is not intuitive whatsoever. You can rotate them. It's possible. You hit the X button, I think, but it doesn't tell you to do that at all. So that's cryptic. And eventually, if you don't solve that puzzle in time, you take damage. But I didn't know how much damage I was taking because I wasn't paying attention. I didn't realize not solving a puzzle in time was going to give me damage. And so I had like 2 or 3 life bars left. I had the E-tanks to be able to give me life, but I thought it's a puzzle, whatever. And so didn't get the puzzle done in time. It killed me. Back to the very beginning of the game again. And at that point, I was like, power off. I'm done.
Yeah, I think this game would really benefit from saves, and maybe the save points we just didn't hit them. But I definitely think some kind of save system or checkpoints would be really beneficial but again, that's how it was with a lot of NES games and just like arcade games. You died, you went back to the beginning. So yeah, this is definitely a tough game. Do you have anything else before giving final thoughts on it, Steve?
No, I think that's about it. I think just in general, I mean, like the something I noticed on the Switch home screen on the title of the game, you'll notice that it has Morse code on there. So clearly that is a theme that's probably going throughout the game, but I have no
Maybe
idea
that's
how.
that's the
But
Morse code you're supposed to use, right?
it's probably the Morse code for full quiet, is my guess. But I don't know.
Yeah, you know what there is. There's Morse code. Well, yeah, I think it is the Morse code for full quiet, which would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe that's what you're supposed to say. But I also did the SOS because like, what do I do? Once I realized it was a Morse code machine, I'm like SOS, and I was like, oh, uh-oh.
Yep.
Like you just preyed on everyone here. But I
Mm-hmm.
think that's great. I like when games do that. So I actually gave it a point for that because I was like, you know what, you're asking for help, and instead of giving help, you're giving us the opposite of help. So I
Yeah.
like that. I thought that was funny. So it's like I said, it's $9.99. Not right now, not on sale. Would you recommend this, Steve, to somebody? Yes or no?
I only to a certain person. Like if you are a gamer that you enjoy the retro NES style game, you enjoy the Metroidvania kind of style of game, and you are someone that really wants to go after it and just loves a really good challenge that's not just the game itself, like because they're throwing difficult stuff at you, but you're like, I got to figure out this game. That's part of the challenge itself, is just figuring out the game itself. Then I think you're probably going to enjoy it because it's not a bad game. I just didn't have a good experience with it, but it's not a bad game. I think there's a couple things that they need to polish a little bit more. So, but it's not bad. It's just it's not for everyone at all, and it's not for me.
I'm gonna echo that. I think that's a great game here. I think you have to be in the right mindset, and you have to go into it, expecting this and to experience this type of game. If you go into it expecting a 2023 modern game, you are going to be severely disappointed. So if you love that retro NES style, like I said, this is an actual NES game. Like it's playable on an NES. Unlike Shovel Knight, which is an NES style that's not playable. Everything here is within the NES limitations. Um, that being said, you have to want to dive into the manual. You want to dive into the secrets, figure it out. It's almost like a Souls like in terms of difficulty in that regards. Then I agree. I think it's a great game. with a story to tell that I didn't get to fully experience, and like I said, just due to I guess more complications. But it's funny, in terms of experiencing this type of thing again. Uh, and I do honestly recommend it for that type of gamer. But if you're like, no, I need tutorials and I need hand holding and I want all the puzzles solved for me, and you're gonna have a terrible time. Uh, and I guess it's also one of those things where I don't know. I didn't look online. I didn't like Google online trying to find like solutions to puzzles. I was like, I'm going to try to do it myself. So if the solutions are there for you to find, you might have a better experience. Part of the charm, I think, for the NES days where the puzzles were cryptic, but you went to school the next day and your friends were playing at the same game. And you would sit there at lunch and you would talk about it. You would figure it out. And I think it created a community aspect prior to at least for us, prior to the internet. And you know, you don't get that now. I don't think you're going to be even if you were in elementary school, playing this, you have the internet, you have those things, and I don't think the majority of kids are going to be playing this because there's so many other games on the Switch right now, and this is a niche title. But I do recommend, and I do want to thank once again 8-Bit Legit for providing us codes. It was really really nice of you, and hopefully you guys listening, you decide to check it out for yourself. It's on the eShop now.
Welcome back, Greg. What'd you think of Full Quiet?
Sounds very intriguing, and I did go ahead and download it while you guys were chatting, so I can check it out later because I didn't realize we had only gotten the game like 4 days ago. But even if I saw the email in time, I don't know if I would have had still time to play it. But with all that aside, it does seem like it fits a lot of the standard NES tropes and stuff. But I always wanted to jump in when you guys were talking about the nighttime and be like, "Oh, let's throw in Castlevania 2." Like, "Oh, what a time for a terrible curse!" And like
Yeah.
everything just completely full stop, and then let's
Oh, no,
crank the
no, this
difficulty up to
actually
11, and
gradually,
like,
like the sun actually
Mhm.
sets, like it starts to get like orange sky and stuff. It's done really well.
yeah. But
Yep.
that's kind of what I was thinking, like when you guys were talking about that, because it's like all the villagers turn into like zombies and stuff in Castlevania 2. So it's like, let's just turn the difficulty up to 11 and like,
Yeah. Yeah. And then you turn on the hard mode on accident and get ready.
Oh boy.
Never know what's going to happen. Well, let's move on to our news discussion for this episode. We touched a lot more about games this episode, but there's actually not a ton of news. We're going to talk over a few bigger topics and several headlines, and we're going to start off with the Level 5 Vision 2023 2. They had the second version of this presentation, and they started off with telling us that everything has been delayed. That's they brought it to us, but they were very much at the very beginning. Yes, everything is delayed. We are sorry, but we hope that this creates better games in the long run. And from Level 5's track record, we kind of know that it's going to, if they're giving them more time, it's going to be creating better games in the long run. So before we jump into I think there's like 7 different games that they talked about during this presentation. Just overall impressions. Barry, what'd you think of this presentation?
I actually really liked it because it was quick. It got to the point, and I like the fact that they just flat out said, "Please don't be disappointed, but we have delays." I would much rather a company not get the hopes up and just be open and honest. Look, delays happen, and it sucks when they do, but hopefully it leads to a better game. And I'm glad that they were just open and honest about it. And I know some games are hit harder with the delay, but if it means a better game and at the end when it comes out, then I am 100% for it. And I've been a fan of Level 5 games. I think a lot of people have been fans of Level 5 games. They do some really great stuff. So I'm excited. I'm excited for their future, and they definitely seem to be like going full in on this stuff. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're not cutting budgets. Like you can see, like they're putting their A game forward.
Yep, absolutely. Greg, what'd you think?
I don't know. I think more of it was just because a lot of these games didn't really fit like the style of games that I normally play, and I'm not really super huge into level 5 for the most part. It's more like when they're more like a partial development thing. I think they've done a few of the Mario sports games like forever ago, like on whatever GameCube or Wii or whatever. But I like only like minor assistance with it, not like full ownership or anything. But from what I did like obviously appreciate like the apology of like delays and stuff. That's always very great to see that they're open and honest. And I also really kind of like the smaller like cutscenes, like where you saw at the beginning with the announcer kind of just like setting on fire kind of thing. I do like those kind of cool graphics that stuff does, and I really do does kind of pay homage to like the old Nintendo Directs where they have like those random kind of scenes and stuff. At least the E3 centered ones where they would have like the hand drawn or clay animation type videos, and made me really miss those as well.
Gotcha. Yeah, I like the fact that they were very upfront at the very beginning. A couple of these games I think slid under my radar. I didn't I kind of either forgot about them or just was not on my radar for whatever reason. And some of them were kind of a surprise to see, and it was exciting. But we're just going to go through them real quick. I'm just going to tell you the highlights of all the different games, and then we'll just talk about what stood out to us, which games stood out to us. So first off, we saw Megaton Masushi Wired. This is a mech-based game, paid content this time. To support the ongoing support of the game. So I think the last version of the game was free. This this version is going to be paid, just so they can have that continued support. There's going to be April 25th, 2024 launch worldwide for this game. And then we also saw Fantasy Life I, The Girl Who Steals Time. It's been 10 years since the original game. This is a big visual and quality of life update in this brand new game, and it's going to be releasing summer 2024. And then we got Inazuma 11 Victory Road. There's lots of updates in this game. There's going to be a March 2024 beta test, first on the Nintendo Switch. They're accepting worldwide feedback for ongoing support and improvement. There's going to be a big focus not only on the single-player RPG, which has been the history of this franchise, but also on the online multiplayer this time around. And it's designed to be highly strategic and also challenging this time. We got an update on Professor Layton and the new world of Steam. Layton and his nephew are ready to solve another case. The cursor movements, to me, kind of seemed like they were going to be using the analog sticks, so this might be a game that I prefer back on the handheld version, like if we played on the DDS. You can write directly on the screen, so instead of having that second screen experience like on the DS, you can write directly on the screen. So that's kind of fun. And all puzzles are done, they say, but they're still working on the rest of the game, and it's going to be out in 2025. And we got an update on Yokai Watch Wibble Wobble, which is a mobile game. It's been the 8th anniversary of this game. Lots of profits recently, and they plan to continue support into the future of this game. And then finally, we saw Deca Police. This is a trial the trial game at Tokyo Game Show received high praise. It's a vast open world, incredibly ambitious game, and it's moved to post 2024 as their launch window. That's all we know right now. And then they gave us update that we're going to see Level 5 Vision 2024 event with the theme of To the World's Children launching in April 2024. And they promised a new title would be announced at that event. So, Barry, what games stood out to you throughout this event?
Yeah, so this one, almost all of them, honestly. Megaton Musashi Wired looks great. I love mech games. I don't always play them all, but this one I like the anime style. I think it looks like a lot of fun, and I love that they're doing worldwide releases. I think that back in the day, Japan would get something, we would have to wait like 6 months before we got it. So now that they're doing like worldwide, that's fantastic. Like all games should be like that. That way we don't have to, or nobody has to miss out.
Mm-hmm.
I love the original Fantasy Life on the 3DS. It was one of my favorite 3DS games, and so excited that it's back. I wasn't sure at first when I first saw the trailer. I'm like, guys, it kind of looked a little off, but this like solidified it for me because they showed the updates on like every aspect of the game and how they improved it, and I think it looks fantastic. Uh, Inazuma 11 is not a series I've ever played, but the whole time watching it, I thought two things. One, this is what Mario Strikers Battle League should have been, and
Yes.
two, this is a game that I could see Steve playing and enjoying because it just feels like your type of game.
This is
Um,
the. I'll just interrupt real quick. This is the first Inazuma 11 game that I've been intrigued by
yeah, it
because of what
looks
they're doing.
good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like this, like seeing like that slow mo aiming the shots
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. Like that could have easily been Mario Strikers. Why is Level 5 doing this and not Nintendo? So yeah, I think that looks great. Yoka or Professor Layton is next. Absolutely love Professor Layton. I'm excited that he's back. The puzzle they did, they showed off the one puzzle. I thought that was ingenious. Like that was Layton puzzle. Like absolutely. I'm glad they showed it off. I'm glad it's still the same style. So if you like the previous Layton games, this is a no-brainer. Pun intended. To pick it up. Yokai Watch doesn't bother me because it's a mobile game, but I really wish they would bring Yokai Watch 4 over here. That was a Switch game. That was an early Switch game. Just translate it and bring it over here. Like, come on. Like, I know Yokai Watch wasn't as big, but still. And then Deca Police. Man, Deca Police looks good. Deca Police reminds me of like Astral Chain, but like more open world than that. And I love it. I think it looks fantastic. So I'm very excited for that. And I'm excited for April. I know it's like two of the games. I think Megaton and Fantasy Life are April as well, and that's when Vision 2 is happening. So I look forward to April to see what's happening there. But it sucks that some of these are pushed back, like Deca Police and Leighton to 2025, at least, and Deca Police. But you know what? They may also come to Switch too. But it's I'm fine. I'm fine waiting. There's a lot of games still, and when they do come out, I expect them to be up to snuff. Now, if they come out and they're not good, then I'm going to be disappointed. So now I think they have to be good. Like
Mm.
they have this extra time, they have to be good.
Yeah. Yeah. Greg, what did you think about all these games?
I mean, I do want to preface it. I do feel like a lot of these games are not like my kind of style games. I can obviously dive into that as I go in one by one, but I mean, they all looked very great and looked like anyone that does enjoy those types of games, they look very gorgeous and a lot of fun to play. But as I was saying, it was a preface that those aren't really the style games. I know I've come on here before on the podcast before to say that I'm not huge into like the mech style games, so that's not really gonna change my opinion on like the Megaton Mayoshi Wire games. So again, it looks like it could be a lot of fun for those that enjoy those style games, but that's probably not the one for me. I did check out Fantasy Life on 3DS, and I actually didn't really care for it a whole lot. So I mean, I do appreciate they are updating the game, but I don't think it'll be like enough update for to warrant me to repurchase and kind of replay the game again. Even though what they added looks like really cool, they added like some more jobs and even like all the graphical overhauls that the game received and everything because it's from the 3DS. So again, it was looking good there, but not my kind of style game. I'm also not really into the European football or I guess soccer here in the states, but so it's kind of rules out that in Azuma 11, I was even Strikers was lower on my tier list for the Mario sports games, so it's unfortunately it's not going to be one that I would just dive into. But I do agree with what Barry was saying that probably what Mario Strikers could have been because Mario Strikers is obviously pretty awful. Um, Professor Layton has always been like a series I've been interested by though, so this would be like the highest one on my list to want to check out. I do kind of regret missing all the ones on the DS and 3DS, and it might be my time to get into the series once this comes out in 2025. Yokai Watch, I never was really knew too much about it outside of being kind of similar to like Pokemon in a way, but I don't think it's enough for me to just kind of just jump in at this particular title, and it's also a mobile game, so it's already two things against it there. Deca Police also it sounded slightly interesting to me. I might just need to see some more trailers and more information on it. Maybe something I could end up looking into with it being like an open world style game and like detective stuff. But again, I'll just have to wait and see as it comes closer. So obviously, for my overall opinion, I thought that Showcase was not the best because those are games weren't games I'm remotely hugely interested in or styles of games that I look for. But again, I understand it's just my sole opinion, and it doesn't not supposed to mean that all these games are awful or not fun to play in the slightest. They're just not the ones for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you like on some of these games, but I mean, longtime listeners of the podcast know that I'm a huge Leighton fan. Um, it was actually our previous, founding host Hassan that got me into Leighton, and he raved about it all the time. And I was like, okay, I gotta check this game out, and it was really obvious like why he was so excited about it. And I will say, Greg, if you get into the game ever, like you have plenty of time before 2025 to go back to some of the original ones. Just be prepared because they're long games. They have an amazing story with it, and it's not just puzzles. Like there's like this amazing story that's always attached to the game, and I love getting sucked into it, and it's emotional a lot of times as well, and it's just it's great. So highly recommend Leighton. Really excited about that. And then in Azuma 11, like I said earlier, I normally would have bypassed this game because it's soccer, of course, and I like soccer, but I've never been really big on the RPG stuff that they thrown in, and historically, that's what they focused on a ton. But because they said they're also focused on the online multiplayer and the competitive aspect of this game, all of a sudden I'm like, well, you're I'm listening now. Okay, what are you saying about this game? And so and I love that they're doing the March 2024 beta test, and so I'll be there for the beta test. I'll check it out, and definitely looking forward to seeing what that's all about. And I don't know, for whatever reason, life just happened, but I forgot about Deca Police. But it looks amazing, like you said, Barry. Absolutely amazing, and really excited to see more from this game. Love that it got really high praise from TGS and everything. Who knows when it's actually going to come out, because it seems incredibly ambitious. Most likely it's going to hit the next Nintendo console, so that's probably even better for the game in the long run too, because it's going to look even better and probably run even better as well. So that's what my experience was. Jesse in the chat says level 5 is top tier as well. So that was level 5's presentation. Like we said, they're going to be back with another one in April 2024 with at least one brand new game that they have promised us. And I'm intrigued by the theme, To the World's Children. Barry, any ideas of what they mean by this?
I no, it took me aback. I was just like, wait, what? Like, and the fact that they're giving this, in November, because this happened at the end of November, 6 months out. What is it? It has to be a hint towards the new game, but I have a feeling the new game is not a new IP, or it's not an old IP. I have a feeling it's a new IP, and they've been going hard on new IPs. So I wonder if Deca Police had a pretty much an influence on that. Like, wow, this is really good. Like, we can do new and branch out. We don't have to sit with the comfortable, but the icon too, like that black shape, that like spirit kind of thing. I don't know. I don't know if that's a hint, but maybe Yokai Watch. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know. Yeah, Greg, any thoughts?
Um, Obviously not really more for a guess, but I do have a thought like around that. I really wish that like Nintendo would kind of announce like, oh, our next direct will be in April, like that. Then that kind of stops like all this. Oh, the Nintendo Direct's coming in 2 weeks. Oh, it's coming in 2 weeks again. Oh, it's coming in 2 weeks again. Like it would be much simpler if they could like follow that kind of format, saying, hey, guess what? Our next showcase will be in here. So then,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it'd be nice for sure. Uh, Jesse says in the chat, it's Mother 3. Yes, level 5 is taken over, and they're releasing Mother 3. Don't get Jakester too excited.
Come on, Reggie,
To the
just give
world's
us Mother
children.
3.
Yeah, there you go. Mother, children. I see where you're going there.
Ah.
Well, that's some exciting things that have happened. We're going to turn the page and go to some unfortunate things that have been going on. Barry, what in the world is this whole thing with the completionist?
Yeah, so this is a little bit unfortunate. For those of you that don't know, the Completionist is a YouTuber, very, very popular YouTuber, Gerard Khalil. Who's actually now doing publishing. He's doing game publishing, and what his mother died. I think it was like 10 years ago or 15 years ago, something from a disease, a dementia, and my grandmother died of dementia and cancer, but she had dementia. I've seen it firsthand. It is a terrible, terrible thing. And his family started a foundation called the Open Hand Foundation. And I think it started in like 2003 or four or something like that. And they started with a golf charity, and they were doing that for a long time. They're still doing it, but they started something called Indie Land, which is a bunch of streamers got together and they streamed, and it was all for charity to Open Hand Foundation. And they had indie developers on there talk about their games. They worked with Jamie Lee Curtis's foundation as well, so she was on there. Like, it was a big, big deal, and it was it was great. It was great to see somebody use their position to raise money for a cause, a good cause. Um, and then it turns out that they raised over $600,000 from Indieland, and the money is still sitting in the bank. The money has not been donated. It's still sitting there, and people are asking, why? Why has this not been donated? Where is this money? Like, why is it in the bank account? And they reached out to him, and he said he'll comment soon, and that was over 2 weeks ago at this point. To my knowledge, no comment. People are like, well, it's simple, just donate the money, like, it's there, just don't, you got it for charity, donate it. And then more information came out because of tax filings, and it turns out that the charities, like the filing for the Open Hand Foundation for taxes, is like just more than what they got from Indie Land, but they're still doing the golf tournaments. And we know how much it costs to be a sponsor at the golf tournaments, because you can see those pricings, and they tell you on the banner, they have banners, here's our top tier sponsors, here's our second tier sponsors. So they, roughly doing the math, you could figure out a minimal how much money these golf tournaments made, like 60, $70,000, but the filings are just like 10,000 over what IndieLand supposedly I say raised. They only mentioned, I think, the first 2 years of IndieLand what they made, and then they didn't continue. And where did all this extra money go? This is not in the bank account of that 600,000. There's missing money at this point, and it's all for the Open Hand Foundation. And people are calling for what's going on. Like, we want answers. People donate to charity to do a good thing, and for a good reason. And when that money is not used for that reason, it hurts. It hurts everybody. And not only this charity, this research, other charities, people start second guessing. Oh, what about these other charities? Are they doing it now too? And obviously, the people who are expecting dementia research doesn't happen, and it's really sad. And there's still no comment from them at all. And people are digging, and the more they dig, the more they're finding. And this is something I hate to report on, but it is something that people should be aware of, because you listening right now might have watched one of these indie lands. They've done it for a long time, and you might have donated yourself, and that money is not going right now. It's sitting in a bank account. Some of it, not all of it. Some of it's missing. A lot of it's unaccounted for. So we want answers, but I don't know what your guys' take is on this, and what your thoughts were when you saw these videos and information come to light.
Yeah, I'll just say it real quick. I mean, I think it's really unfortunate. I mean, it seems like an incredibly legitimate thing, but why is all this happening? I don't know. Like, I just can't conceive what would be going on that they can't release any information about this at all. Like, because there's a lot of different things that sometimes happen behind the scenes that could get money hung up. You know, the certain organization wasn't ready to receive it. They have to go through their lawyers. They have to do, this is a substantial amount of money. They have to figure out all these things, or there was a leadership changeover. All these different things could happen that potentially could delay what's going on. But why can't you tell us that? If you're
Except it's
just
their own foundation, though.
right. And so, like,
They own the
even
foundation.
less reasons to like, so like there seems like there could be some legitimate reasons to delay something, but the fact that it's your own organization and you've not communicated anything at all, it just makes it look more and more and more shady. And I don't want to believe that that's the case, because like Gerard seems like a great guy, but like, what is going on and why haven't you been communicating? Greg, what do you think?
Yeah, what I've gathered, it just seems like it's a massive communication failure. Because even like I had watched both coverage of Carl's and Ordinary Gamers coverage of like this, because like they did the interview together, and basically like they've been like at least the Gerard's been very like trying to communicate saying, oh, this is like I'm raising it directly for these specific charities, but then like on all their tax documentation, like there's hasn't been any money gifted out. So like that's a major risk, like misrepresentation, saying like, oh, I'm raising money for XYZ charity, but then it's actually not even going there. So the communication part has certainly been very confusing in that regard. um, I do know, like in the interview they had, like of him on like a call that they did with him with Gerard directly, he was saying like he wanted like the money to go towards like a very specific thing. Like he didn't just want to like put it into like a drop in the bucket and then like it just gets pays like some admin fees to do whatever, some hourly job or something like small. But if you wanted to actually try to make a difference and like actually contribute towards like a cure and other stuff like that. But then they did kind of talk about how you can do donations in that way and everything, but it still doesn't really make an excuse for why like the money is still sitting there today. So like even in like Ordinary Gamers coverage, he says, well, inflation now, so now like that money could have helped save some lives or made progress here and there, but instead it's just been sitting in this bank account, and now you're getting less value for it because everything is more expensive. So um, it's kind of like a loss at that point. And like they really even came up with the play, like even said like what he could have done is just taken the money right then and there after being on the call and just like made went through with the donation to kind of like made it look a lot better, that at least now that he's aware of it and he went through with it and can validate it actually went somewhere. But now like he's just now just radio silence right now as we're just waiting on updates from either like him or his family or like from the Open Hand Foundations themselves. So that's just going to be a very sticky situation for them to go through. And I know that with more people like looking into it now, that's just going to get more eyes on it. And now they're finding like potentially money that's like not even being like accurately reported on. So that's going to be more trouble like with like the IRS and other government agencies and stuff.
Yeah, it's not even just that 600,000. Like even if they donated that, it's where's all the money from the golf tournament? Since Indieland started, like we're talking like $50,000 a year that's now like missing. Like, and these are big sponsors: Monster Energy Drink, Coca-Cola. They had booths at these golf tournaments. They were selling the stuff. They had their signs on the banner. Like these aren't just like Bob's Discount Furniture in Chattanooga, Hawaii, or not Hawaii, like Ohio or something. Like these are big, multi-billion-dollar companies that donated to this, and now their money is now missing. So naturally, I'm sure they're going to get involved because their names are right there. They're plastered, right there. They attach their names to this foundation, but they did it, for a good cause. They did it for dementia research. They did it to, you know, to be, you know, at least good on paper. Uh, you know, tax write-offs and all that stuff. But at least they did it, and they were there. And where's the money? Where that's talking a lot of money that's just missing. And again, all these poor developers, you know, other YouTubers that came onto Indie Land, you know, I don't think any of them had any idea. They were just donating their time and showing off their games and just wanting to be a part of something good. And now it's forever tainted. Even if miraculously all that missing money is found, miraculously everything gets donated and everything's back at square one, uh you know, the next year, 2024, no one's going to want to be on Indie Land. No one's going to want to donate because they're like, all right, well, you did that. How long do we have to pressure before my money now gets donated? I might as well just donate it directly to a charity of my choice. And it's sad, and that ruins it for other people who want to do charity, because now they're gonna be like, oh well, this YouTuber is doing a charity. Oh well, are you actually going to spend the money for the charity, or are you gonna pocket it? Like, it once something like this happens, it ruins trust, and that is very hard to earn back, and that is really sad because we're talking about charities here. We're not talking about other things. We're talking about giving to research to help and the benefit of all of mankind, and it sucks. We all lose. Everybody loses in this case.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know if you could go as far as to say it could be fully distrustful of like all charities. I mean, I think that just makes you a little more potentially more skeptical, and then you could always just do like your own separate research to see like, okay, this charity has been around since whatever 2010 or
Not
something,
the
and then
charity
they have
itself, but like
yeah
a charity
yeah
event.
Mhm.
Like an actual charity that exists and has existed for a while, and you donate the money directly to them, then you're fine. But like I said, like another YouTuber or someone saying we're doing this charity event, then it's like, is this like you? It's the distrust in the organizers of that charity event, not the charity itself.
I mean, at least the event needs to be like full on like disclosing like which charities they're working with though. So if it does
Well,
say
this
like
did too.
the yeah, I mean, if we could see like where it was, if there might be more visibility on, is what I was trying to say into the if for other types of events. I mean, if you obviously Open Hand Foundation, then you'll be less skeptical to do something for that particular event. But like some other thing, you could easily probably try to like look online or whatever and to see if there's like a paper trail there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a rough situation no matter what. I mean, it's like I don't know what's really like at this point. Like I don't really know if there's a way to really recover. I mean, fully they can. They need to communicate. They need to know let us know what's going on and all that stuff. But yeah, I'm hearing what you guys are saying too. Is like they've already been tainted so bad from this. Can you fully recover at all? This is really unfortunate because it seems like from the outside looking in, this is just a really poor communication issue. Like, just you could have solved a whole lot if you just let the public know what's going on. This is money that they have given, that they've trusted you with, and they've
Yeah.
trusted that you're going to use this to go toward an amazing cause that is a very worthwhile cause, and you've just remained silent about it even in the face of accusation. Like, you've got to be able to say something. But yeah.
But yeah, I mean, even like the misdirection, because I mean, like Gerard's been on a number of streams and he like talks about how it's like going like right away to the thing, but then like in the call he had with like Carl or whatever, he said he was waiting on like a certain way to donate it. So like, why are you saying it's one thing and then it's like the complete opposite?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I guess hopefully we will find out more information, hopefully sooner than later, so that we know what is going on. But that's enough of the bad news. Let's talk about some good news. next episode, we are going to have our Game of the Year awards. And if you've been with us for a while, you know that this is our last episode, typically our last episode of every year. We talk about our best games of the year and a little bit of the worst. So, of the categories that we're going to be going through this year, get them on the screen right now. If you're watching the video version, we're going to be talking about the best indie Switch games out there. We've separated them into indie categories and AAA. So the best indie Switch games all in one big category. The best third-party AAA Switch games. The best Nintendo developed or published Switch game. The best game on a non-Nintendo system. We'll talk about our worst game of the year, and then we'll give our overall Game of the Year award. So those are the different categories that we're going to go through, and we would encourage you to either jump on our social media. We have it over on Twitter, all the different categories, and we'd love for you to reply over there and let us know what your picks are. Or you can head over to our Discord as well, and we have a entire channel dedicated to the Game of the Year for 2023, and we'd love for you to be able to just let us know what your picks are. We will try to read all of those during our actual presentation in that episode. So we'll go through our picks, our top three, some honorable mentions, and then we'll try to get yours as well. If you forget or whatever, you can also join us in live chat. We absolutely love interacting with you guys. But especially on our Game of the Year, we love hearing what you guys think about the best games of the year as well. And Barry, you want to tell them what they can also expect special on this episode?
Yeah. So we talked about doing maybe a little giveaway, a little Nintendo eShop card giveaway, for those that decide to tune in live and give their picks for their categories. So for more information on that, you'll have to tune in 2 weeks.
Yeah. So maybe you'll win something. Greg, what are you expecting from this year's Game of the Year episode?
Expecting Steve to nominate Bayonetta 2.
That only happened one time.
expecting
On the
Barry
wrong
to
year.
expecting Barry to nominate Xenoblade Chronicles 500 and
Nice.
yeah, just got had my own little jabs in there, but yeah, I mean, obviously this was really going to be a very difficult year to go through. I mean, we got like Mario Wonder, we had Tears of the Kingdom. There's been all sorts of great games that came out, even like Pikmin 4. There's Fire Emblem Engage. There's like so many different Nintendo published titles that's make a really huge showdown, like for all these heavy hitters from various franchises, all in one, at least on the Nintendo side. But even I did get tons of like indie games this year, but I know there's still always high quality there from we've seen in the years past. So there's definitely no slouches there either.
Yeah, I feel like there was tons of games released this year, and you rattled off all the Nintendo ones, which are awesome. But third party
No,
was
there's
pretty
so
big
many
this year
more.
too, right, Barry?
Oh, yep.
There's so many more Nintendo games. Detective Pikachu Returns, Mario RPG, WarioWare Move It, Bayonetta Origins. I mean, it just goes on. Like, and third party
Advance
is
Wars,
ridiculous. Yeah,
Advance Wars
Advance
one and
Wars 1 and
two,
2.
Pikmin
Uh,
1 and 2.
yeah, Metroid Prime Remastered came out this year. It's just been a real banner year. I think 2020. I said it already on Twitter and stuff, but 2023 has been the best year of gaming since 2017, and it's just been an incredible year overall. Like the amount of IPs that got new installments and good new installments, the amount of brand new IP, and just what a year! Like gamers won this year flat out, no matter what genre you like. There's multiple somethings for you. It's not just like, oh well, I only played 3 games this year because it was only 3 games I was interested in. like I have to imagine that virtually anybody that plays games as a hobby had to have at least between 6 and 10 minimum games they were interested in, and I'm sure it was a lot more. What a year for every platform, and Nintendo absolutely killed it. Like what a year for Nintendo. They haven't had a year like this since 2017. It's been so good. So I'm looking forward to 2 weeks from now. I think it's going to be a fun show. It's always one of my favorite episodes because we get to celebrate. Who
Yep.
doesn't like celebrating?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think some people would say maybe the reason this game this year is so good for gaming is because they're also trying to dump all their remaining IP as they can for the current Switch system because the next one's coming out soon. So if that's the case, win-win. Win in 2023 and hopefully a big win in 2024 as well with a new system and new games and all the stuff from Level 5 that they've already announced that's coming out in 2024 and so much more. So we'll find out what our picks are on not January. We're going to jump way ahead. December 18th. I have not time traveled in a while.
Yeah.
December 18th is when we're going to be dropping that episode. So join us live, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 5:30 p.m. Pacific Time. We're going live, as always, on YouTube and Twitch. You can watch it after the fact on YouTube and listen after the fact on your favorite podcast app. Yeah, this could be a great one to join us live for. If you're not typically able to join us live, this could be a great one to jump in. But let's jump into, speaking of jumping in, let's jump into some headlines and make sure just a few other news stories to make sure that you guys know about tonight on this episode.
Yeah, so we just talked a little bit about our Game of the Year awards, which is personally my favorite. But another guy, Jeff Keighley, he thinks he can compete with us. Can't. He's doing his own little show. It's called the Game Awards, and that is happening December 7th, this Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific. It's going to be streaming for free across all platforms. And, I don't know how many world premieres we're going to see, but, maybe we'll see one, maybe we'll see five. Don't make it a drinking game. You will not last. You will be bad. But, yeah, stay tuned and we'll see which company buys the win.
Tetris 99's got their next Maximus Cup. This is number 38. They'll be running from December 14th at 11 p.m. Pacific Time to December 18th at 10:59 Pacific Time. So if you're a big fan of Super Mario Wonder, that will be the next theme you can unlock by playing in this Tetris 99 tournament.
And I mentioned this earlier, but Fortnite is getting a new mode, game, whatever they're going to call it. It's called Rocket Racing. And yeah, you heard that right. It's in Fortnite. It's not in Rocket League. It's not a separate game. It's in Fortnite. So read into all that as you will. It's going to be dropping later this week. Like I said, the end of the current season in Rocket League is also stopping this week as well. So I have no idea what's going on. Rocket Racing looks really exciting. It looks really fun. The rumors are that all of your items and cars are going to be able to be ported over into Fortnite. And so that's possibly the reason why they stopped doing player-to-player trading. But I don't know. Rocket Racing stopped dropping in Fortnite.
Well, in terms of other new games dropping, a game came out a little while ago called Atari 50. Beautiful anniversary for the Nintendo Switch as well as other platforms to celebrate the 50th year of Atari. Well, on Tuesday, as in tomorrow, it's getting a free update that's going to contain 12 brand new games. But we don't know what games they are. We just have some hints, like a blue and orange diamond, an ear of corn, a basketball trash bin, a car, a horse, a water pistol, and someone in looks like water. I don't know. What do you think?
Water polo.
It might be water polo. We shall see. We'll see you tomorrow.
And then earlier this year, gamers might remember that GoldenEye 64 launched on the N64 app for North America, but it looks like it was just now added for Japan. But however, they made a new adults-only N64 app. It also includes Jet Force Gemini, which is also now slated to be releasing here stateside coming soon. But could this mean that there's more to come? Are we going to be getting this kind of different app going forward, or are they just abiding by like maturity laws for Japan? Only time will tell how this will be handled for even our Switch 2 friend that might be around the corner. So who knows if we'll get this kind of app stateside for the more mature titles, or more mature titles like Conker's for Days will be coming out by us.
It's interesting. Like Disney Plus released an 18 plus thing eventually, and apparently Nintendo 64 is also doing that. Barry, what'd you think of these stories?
Yeah, so Game Awards is always a fun time just to see the premieres, mainly the awards. I'm sure somehow Last of Us Part 2 is going to somehow win everything again. I don't know. It's not even nominated, it's still going to win. As a lot of people say, don't take stock in it. If your favorite game doesn't win, just know that they didn't throw enough money into it, and it doesn't matter, because if you enjoy a game, you enjoy a game. Tetris 99, I'll go for the Mario Wonder. That's the extent of my Tetris 99 playing. Get the 100 points and turn it off, just to try and collect the themes. I don't play Fortnite. I did play it a little bit. That's interesting. I don't think they would kill Rocket League to put into Fortnite, but it's definitely interesting to see these two cross over like this. So I'm curious. You'll have to fill us in, as a
Yeah.
non-Rocket League player. I'm curious what happens. Atari 50, it's great that they're adding more games tomorrow. I haven't popped in. I really should pop it in. I've heard nothing but good things. My only negative thing, as far as I know, about updating is there's a game for the links that was removed in an update. I don't know if it ever came back, but it is on the card. So if you have the physical and you don't update it, you actually have that game. So I hate when they remove stuff. Like, I always want add, but I think it's great that they're adding games to this. I wouldn't expect it, and I know, I'm excited for Jet Force Gemini to come here to the States. But it's interesting that they're making an M-rated app, and I'm wondering how they're going to do this going forward. It's something that I never really cared about as an adult because I'm already above age, but now that I have a child, it's like, oh yeah, like, is that something, like, do I want to see, him to see Conker bouncing on Sunflower's boobies at a young age? Like, so it'll be interesting to see what they do with that, and if it's a separate app, because that wasn't really an issue on the NES and the Super Nintendo to a lesser degree. I mean, Mortal Kombat, but I don't think they really care too much on the Super Nintendo. But definitely going forward, I mean, if they do bring GameCube and stuff over, ESRB full swing then too. So, we want to see Eternal Darkness. That's an M-rated.
It's true. It's true. Greg, what'd you think?
Yeah, the Game Awards will certainly be interesting, and I know I said it last podcast, but it's great to see a lot more Nintendo representation. So hopefully that Nintendo actually will take home more than just the family game this year. So I'd be definitely rooting for Tears of the Kingdom for a number of categories myself, but you never really know for sure until the day they go through all those awards on Thursday. Um, Tetris 99 still haven't really unlocked any of the previous themes, so probably not going to be getting this one. The rocket racing in Fortnite, I not really too big into Fortnite at all, so not going to be getting that either. The Atari thing does sound pretty cool that they'll be adding some more games. It's always great to have more classics available for pickup to experience some of those really old style games. And then I am also like very interested how they'll handle the stateside. I mean, we already have like GoldenEye in the app. I mean, would they like update the app to remove it and then put it into a new app, or I don't know how they would exactly handle it if they are going to do it here in the States, but I know, at least for my save file, I desperately hope that they allow you to transfer over the save data, because I've unlocked some of the very difficult GoldenEye cheats, and I really don't want to have to do those again. So, um, yeah, I understand, like, when I was reading more into it, that's what I said in the headline, that I know Japan has a little bit more stricter laws, like with like stuff for gaming for minors, so that's why that app is out over there. But I mean, there are obviously parents that would appreciate that kind of level, like I'm out here too in the States, and I imagine also in Europe as well. But I don't know how they can really easily rectify that without making sure there's a way to transfer over saves and other stuff like that, and making
Yeah.
sure that they collect the age data to restrict them from opening up those apps to begin with.
Yeah. Yeah, I imagine they would be able to, but it is interesting, just to think about, because there's different ratings in different countries, and a game is, that like GoldenEye, I think that was a teen rated game, in America. But if it was 18 plus in Japan, then that's different. And so what was it rated in? It was at 17 and older in Europe or something. And so like that, all having these different ratings does cause some potential issues like that when they release them all in the same app. If they release them all as separate downloads, that'd be a different story. But since they've decided to go this direction, that could be a little more complicated. Yeah, I think the big thing that stands out to me, of course, is the rocket racing stuff. I'm really interested. There's a lot of big Rocket League fans that are not happy with what has been going on recently, and how really how Epic Games has kind of handled Rocket League since they purchased Psyonix, and really putting so much continued effort toward Fortnite. But Rocket League has not gotten any updates, like significant updates, in a long time, and doesn't get the press, doesn't get they don't even this rocket racing thing was announced on Fortnite's Twitter and Fortnite's news and everything. Rocket League has said nothing. So we're like, okay, this is really interesting. They better have something good, but it's the writing on the wall is not looking so good right now, which is unfortunate.
Which is so weird. It's such a popular game.
Yep. It is really strange. I mean, what they've done, like they're trying definitely, I think, to create Fortnite more into this metaverse sort of thing. I think similar to what they've done with Roblox and other stuff too, is like they try to, this is this whole world that you can get into, and I think they're trying to make Fortnite that. And so I really hope they're not doing this, but part of me wonders, are they just going to be moving Rocket League into Fortnite? And that sounds so strange and weird, and I don't want it to happen, but it wouldn't surprise me at this point. I don't know. It's been really weird how they've handled everything. What I would love to do, I think, is they just roll it back out and let Psyonix take it and run with it and give them back their game. That would be great, but I think it's too late for that now. So anyway, let's move on to what's coming up over the next couple weeks. Before we do that, just want to remind you to follow us over on social media. You can find us at NintendoFuse on Twitter and Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff as well. And of course, our Discord channel link is on the screen, but also in the YouTube description and the show notes for the podcast. And yeah, we'd love to have you jump in there. And one of the big things we're going to be talking about this week is the Game Awards. So on December 11th, December 7th, if you're watching along, hop over on our Discord, and there'll be several of us that are watching along. We can kind of chat during the show and everything as well, and kind of make this a big community effort and everything. So we're gonna be back with our next episode. Like we said, it's gonna be our Game of the Year episode on December 18th. But until then, there are a few games that are still dropping of the last couple weeks of the year. We're going to be scrolling them on the screen like normal if you're watching the video version, thanks to Metacritic for this list. But go over a couple of those highlighted games. We have Skater XL is dropping on December 5th. Highland Song, also on December 5th. Disney Dreamlight Valley, which I thought was already out, but they have it listed for December 5th as well. And they also have
it's already out, but it's a free to play, and I think this is like the rebranding where it's like a pay to, like it's a charge for it now.
Okay, that makes sense. There's also, they got listed a Mario Wonder and a Pikmin 4 double pack that's supposedly coming out on December 8th. Enter the Gungeon and Exit the Gungeon double pack also on December 8th. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC, The Hidden Treasure of Area Zero Part 2, the Indigo Disc, drops on December 14th. And Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge Anniversary Edition comes out on December 15th. Barry, any of these games or others you're going to be playing over the next couple weeks?
Yeah, so once I finish Dragon Quest Monsters, the next big one is going to be the Indigo Disc. Very much looking forward to the Pokemon DLC as the final big game for the year. If I have time in between, I might play something else, and obviously after play something else. That's all to be determined. My in-laws coming in between as well, so I have to have a lot of things going on. But it's a good wind down. I think it's a good wind down to the year. It's been a hell of a year, and December is usually a slower month anyways because of the holidays. It's November, is everything want to get out by Black Friday kind of deal. So I guess we'll see. We'll see what else is coming, but that's my main thing. And Shredder's Revenge. If my physical game, I'd play it. I have the physical coming. I haven't played Shredder's Revenge, but I'm like, oh, I might as well wait and get the anniversary and get the DLC and stuff too.
I didn't realize you still don't have it.
No, I have the game. I just don't have
Oh.
the anniversary edition.
Oh, okay.
So I'm waiting on that.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant your original still didn't come.
Oh no, that came maybe about 6 weeks or 7 weeks ago. Like it came really late.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, no. I remember me and Steve playing online like 6-7 months ago. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I knew it was late, but I was like, man, you still haven't gotten it? Yeah. Greg, what have you been playing?
I'll probably be mostly hitting up the backlog this time around. I'm trying to make sure I get some of the games all finalized for Game Awards. At least our Game Awards, not the Game Awards. But yeah, get those underway, and then me and Barry will have also that review game to hit the sort of whatever. I can't think of the top of my head, but yeah,
Nice.
But yeah, pretty much be putting some time to that one, and then hitting up backlog games to make sure I have time to have all the categories properly filled out, and then any additional time will probably be dumped more into Hogwarts Legacy, most likely.
Nice. Jakester says that he's going to be finishing Future Redeemed and getting back into Okami, doing Tetris 99, Star Rail, Pikmin, Bloom, and Pokemon Sleep. So, I have you guys tried out Pokemon Sleep yet? I'm like, is it a game you really play, or you basically just fire it up before you go to bed every night?
I have not tried it because when it came out, my son was born, and I'm like, well, this is probably
and
the
you
worst
have no sleep.
game. No, I do. That's the thing. I didn't play because I expected to have no sleep, and knock on wood, my son sleeps through the night and has like right from the beginning, so he's awesome. But I could have played it, but I'm like, oh, it's too late now. like the second I do, it's gonna jinx it, and he's gonna wake up. So I'm like, I'm not touching it. Not rocking this boat. Not worth it.
Nice.
No, I haven't gotten Pokemon Sleep either. I still haven't gotten Pikmin Bloom, but I don't know. Like I feel like some of the mobile games are kind of falling off, and I'm only doing Mario Run these days because I have that urgency to finish every single Mario game published by Nintendo 100%. So right now, that Mario Run is the only game that has not hit that criteria.
Good for you. I am not, but good for you.
You did New Super
No
Mario 2
platforming.
with all the DLC.
Well, those
You got a
aren't
million
all
coins.
available, but I wasn't including full DLC. I was doing base games, but
Did you get a million coins? And
I did, yeah.
nice.
I'd gotten this thing before I stopped playing. Yeah, it was like a level or something I found they could grind for. It was like a few thousand some coins, and I just replayed that level like a thousand times. And
Nice. Oh man. Yeah, I think I'm with you, Greg. I'm going to be trying to hit as many games as I can before the Game Awards, our Game Awards episode as well. I know there's several in my backlog that I want to get some time with before I start putting my list together. I know Barry's he's got his whole list together. He's had it ready since December 1st or something. But
I've had it ready. I've been doing it throughout the year. I've been moving games around as I've played throughout the year.
I think you mentioned that you've done that the last couple of years, and I think every year I go, that's a good idea, but I never do it myself.
Yeah, same here, Steve. I was like, that sounds like it'd save me a lot of time and effort if I could just.
Yeah. It saves a lot of time at the end because even if you say, "Well, this is my third best of the year," and then it winds up being your first best when you think about it after, at least it's in your list. You know what?
That's true. Yeah. At least we
Instead
have
of,
our.
Instead of like Googling, did this game come out in the last year? Or was it 2 years ago that I'm playing this?
Exactly.
So, I mean, even that's why spoiler alert, I was looking at Dragon Quest Treasures because it said it came out last December. So it is technically last year, but it is eligible for our thing because it fits that December to November this year.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah, we
Dragon
forgot to
Quest
mention this
Monsters
earlier,
out there,
but that is the case. So we are going from December of last year through November of this year. So as you're putting your list together as well, make sure you take that into account as well. But yeah, I feel like there's lots of games that I have not tried enough, I think, and we'll talk about this next episode too, but like there's not like a hard and fast rule that we have to have played all these games, because there's no way that we've played all these games. Barry comes close, but
I know, right?
Yeah, no way. No way.
But there's
Nope,
no way we
never.
can play all of them. And so like, yes, there'll be games on our list that we have not played, but we've experienced it enough. Like there's some games that I know are fantastic, but I'll watch someone else play them on Twitch instead of me playing it or on YouTube or something, because number one, they cost a lot of money to play all these games. And secondly, I don't have the time. But sometimes some games are just better experienced other people playing it. And I think I've talked about it before. Like I would have never said that years ago, but there are some games that I really enjoy other people playing, and I just get to experience that through them. So most of the games we've played, especially our worst of the year, those are games that we've definitely played. Those are the worst games we've played throughout the year.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, those are the only ones I haven't beaten to completion of my list. Because I wasn't doing it.
We'll talk about that next episode. We're like, how quick did you give up on this game? That should be part of the criteria.
I'm surprised you're not supposed to leave any game left behind. I thought you're supposed to be the one that plays everything to completion. Like you're like our own completionist on our own team here, without the charities.
Without the charities. Too soon.
Yeah, I mean he's the guy that logs in like 100 hours of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 before like the episode. So like.
No, all right.
Only 24 hours left in the day. He logs 100 hours.
That is the very reason we do the November or the December to November thing, because Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I had 3 days to play as much as I could before our awards, and I gave it second place behind Breath of the Wild. And had I had more time, I would have put it higher than Breath of the Wild. I had my in-laws here, so I was like ignoring my in-laws while they were in town for the holidays, trying to play as much as I could before our show.
Xeno 3 was last year, right?
Xeno 3 was last year.
Okay, so you don't have that problem again between Xeno or Zelda. So.
And Xeno 3 also came out in like July or something, so it was like more than enough time to play it without the year, not like just throw it in there like under like his favorite series right as like
right at the end,
days before the podcast is going on. So
the DLC or the other, what's it called, it was not a DLC because you said it's like a full game.
It's
from
a full
Xeno.
game. That was
this year, right? Okay.
Yeah. It's Torna like DLC, whatever.
Like it's like Torna. Torna's it's a separate entirely thing by itself, like self-contained.
Cool. Well, yeah, we'll be back a couple weeks, December 18th, with our next episode. We know that it's a great time of the year. We are going to be taking a couple weeks off after that, actually more like a month or so off. We'll give you more details about when we'll be back on our Game of the Year episode. But we usually do take some time off around the holidays season. I know some of you guys are already celebrating some holidays already. We just passed Thanksgiving here in America, a couple weeks ago, and heading in this whole holiday season. So just wish you guys some happy holidays, and make sure to join us over on social media and in our Discord. We'll see you there, and then see you back here on December 18th with the Game of the Year Awards. Happy gaming, everybody.
Have a good one.
Happy holidays, happy gaming.